Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast. We are live Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And are you ready to live an inspired and empowered life? Today, really exciting, I have Donna DiDomenico and Alyssa DiDomenico to talk with me. They are authors in the book, The Power and Impact of Courageous Changemakers, Stories of Life, Love, and Business. And I am also one of the authors in the book, so it's very exciting. Today is our launch day. And I am your host, Nanci Deutsch, a licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive breakthrough expert. And I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform lives. And this show is not a replacement for counseling or therapy. It is educational purposes only. So Donna DiDomenico, she is the CEO of Be the Difference. She guides a global leadership development force uniting visionaries for impactful change. As the voice of the boardroom, she channels a non-physical collective of leaders, innovators, former presidents, steering leadership towards authenticity, inclusivity, and compassionate effectiveness. I'd like to introduce Donna DiDomenico, and I will talk more about, and then we'll introduce Alyssa DiDomenico very shortly. So welcome, Donna. Thank you
Hi,
for
Nanci.
joining. And just a little bit more about Donna. So Donna is focused on innovative solutions for the challenges faced by today's leaders. She provides an unparalleled perspective, unbound by tradition. In her upcoming book, Be the Difference Now, Donna unveils 6 pillars of leadership, seamlessly merging practical ideas with spiritual wisdom while empowering leaders to be change makers for a better future. And her brand is Be the Difference. Be the Difference. .global is the website. Thank you, Donna. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be with you today.
Thank you so much. We already got from Country Corners, we already got congratulations on the book.
Great, thank you.
So what I'd like to tell everyone about, how did this book come into being? It's such an exciting book in the title, and I've so many amazing stories in it. So
yeah, well, my partner Sue Shalley and I work with a number of people, and as we were working with them, we were always saying, wow, their story is so amazing and what they've accomplished is so amazing. And so we were chatting about it and how we actually need to make change today in our world, right? Just change our thought, our mindsets, our whole thinking process. And we thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if we took some of the stories of just people like you and me and collected them and showed others that it can be done, that change can be made through their individual stories and things that happened in their life. And then from that, the book was born.
I love it. I love it. And there's so many inspirational stories. And we got some more congratulations. We got Allie from Cass and Mickey, all congratulating on Allie's congratulations, ladies, and Mickey's congratulations on the book. So thank you all for the congratulations. It's an exciting time.
Yes.
So you decided to gather up all these stories and tell us a little bit more about how, like what made you pick the authors and the stories and how that all came to be as well.
Yeah, so it's really quite an amazing story for the whole book. And we actually have a message about it from my boardroom in the forward of the book. But basically, when Sue and I started with the concept, we were told that we couldn't really make this happen, that we couldn't write a book. We weren't going to get the authors that we needed. And the reasons for it were we weren't well known at the time, and that, that we didn't have like the big mailing lists and things that people who write successful books and have authors come in on an anthology have. And we then got together and set an intention that we were going to do the book. It was going to be amazing, and that the authors would come to us, that we would attract the right types of energy to us to match ours and match the other authors in the book, to create this book. And it was going to happen. And, within no time at all, we got our first author, and it just really accelerated after that, right? We just, like you, got great authors coming to us saying, I have a story to tell, and I really would like to tell it. And I think, I want other people, I think what happened to me will encourage change in other people. And let's make other people be the change makers in their life. And so with that, Sue and I, really started this whole process of the authors and we ended up with 25 authors, all with very different stories, but all with energy that really complements each of the other authors, and created a very powerful book. And there's a lot of things about this book that are different than the others that you'll find on the shelf. So for example, the cover was created by one of our authors, Denise Sutter. She channels mandalas. And so the cover is a special mandala that she challenged. It has a message also just for the book. And then inside the book, Sapphire Rose, another author, wrote The Prayer of the Changemaker, which is really, really different. And it's an amazing poem. And then my boardroom came in and wrote the forward. And we have, just a lot of other little things in there that are energy powerful, but different.
I love it. I love it. All of it just it sounds like it feels like it magically, miraculously all was coming together, part of what we're all here to do as change makers, to make changes in this world. Yep. Love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and really, I mean, there's so many different stories. Misty says, sounds awesome. Thank you, Misty. And there's so many different stories, just like the title says, of love and life and business. So all of that is really like each. And I actually had one of the people that read it already say to me, she's like, she liked having the little chapters because each chapter was different. So that's great.
Yeah, and I think the chapters keep it very interesting because you're going from one story to the next, and they are different. But as you transition from one author to the next, it's like you get a new swell of energy, kind of lifting you to go into that next story. And I know when I read the book myself the first time, I thought, it was late, and I was like, I'm just going to do a couple chapters right now. and I did the whole book. And it was, it just kept on moving me and moving me through the chapters.
I love it. So what I'd like to do is also now introduce Alyssa.
Okay.
So, all right.
We are going to bring her in.
Okay, so Alyssa DiDomenico is an intuitive creator with Asperger's syndrome, crafts custom jewelry. She shares her life with parents, Anthony and Donna, along with 2 canine companions, Cooper, her intuitive sidekick, and Bella, who bosses everyone. Her unique perspective on the world shapes her creative journey. Her happy place is the beach. So what I'd like, why don't each one of you talk a little bit about what your chapter is about?
Okay, our chapters are actually linked together. So I'm going to have Alyssa start with hers, and then I'll go into mine.
And before you do, we have a question from Misty. It says, I see it on Kindle. Does it come in other formats? So can you explain how someone can get it as part of the launch and then after that?
Yes. So right now we're doing a 2-day special launch period for the book, where you can reach it in Kindle format or ebook format. You can read it on different devices for 99 cents. That will end tomorrow afternoon. And shortly after that, the hard copy book will be available on Amazon. So I'm expecting by Friday that the hard copy will be out there and be available.
And those of you who want to get involved in our book launch today and tomorrow till 4, join us, because when you have the ebook, you can use it on any of your devices. So you just have to download the Kindle app. Is that correct?
That's correct, and that's free. And Amazon will prompt you if you want to get the app from there, or you can also do it out on your different devices through app stores or whatever. And the other thing I want to share is that you can also buy and share the link with others. It makes a great gift. So, because it's so inspiring, and their stories are powerful. So while it's on promotion, you can also download it and get a link from Amazon, send it directly to someone else, or you can just get the links and you can share them later as gifts.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Donna. So how about we ask Alyssa a little bit about her chapter?
My chapter is about when I went through my lung surgery, and I didn't know what was going on with my lungs, but I actually learned when I was going through my lung surgery, when I was on the morphine, I thought I was hallucinating, but I kept seeing, my mom says I used to see spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about how I was seeing the spirits. I got to see my guardian angel. He protects me every day, and then I had a connection with God too in that hard time.
Yeah. So Alyssa was in. Yeah, she was in ICU after her surgery. So she went in the hospital, very simple surgery, and she ended up in ICU. And so a lot transpired while she was out, for a long period of time. And so that's where she went through, and she got to meet some people that she had not met before.
I love it. I want to hear more about it. But before we do, we have Allie says she already purchased her copy and she's excited to read it. Thank you, Allie. All right, cool. And Donna, would you like to share a little bit about your chapter?
Yeah. So Alyssa's titled this chapter, her chapter is titled Angels Watching Over Me. And then mine is Angels Watching Over Me Too. And mine is about kind of neglecting myself when I had a severe headache, and 5 miracles that actually happened for me to keep me alive in the process.
Wow. It sounds so exciting. So, and miraculous. So tell us a little bit more. the two of your chapters are so closely linked. Tell us a little bit more about each of your experiences.
Well, when I first got when I first went into my surgery, I was seeing I believe I saw an entity because I kept seeing people in dark clothes, but my guardian angel stuck out because she was on white and there was a light over her, so I knew she was an angel.
I love it. And as soon when you saw your guardian angel, Alyssa, how did were you aware of any feelings or what happened for you once you connected with your guardian angel?
I felt a sense of calm, and then I got goosebumps on my arms. Knew there was a higher power. It was just the energy was really calming.
Yeah, that's what happens when we connect to those energies of love and the higher levels, higher realms. I love it. And
Do you want to tell them about when you saw God as well?
Yeah, I was.
Yes, please tell us.
So when I went through, I was trying to I had 2 chest tubes, and I was in, I guess, the hospital room, and I was awake, and I saw God, and I asked for a miracle, and he's like, he basically told me he'll give me my miracle so I can go home because I didn't want to be in the hospital anymore. It was over Christmas and New Year's.
That's so beautiful, Alyssa. Thank you for sharing. I mean, I just really want to say thank you both for sharing your stories to make a difference in people's lives. It really, it's so powerful and so important. So
since 2021, I've been having more interactions with God in my everyday life.
Wow, like how? How does that happen? What shows up for you? How do you know?
So in 21, I was talking to a guy on the phone, and I couldn't I couldn't call him on the phone because I kept getting a file card noise on the phone.
So that became a sign for her that she wasn't supposed to have that conversation. And actually, every time she would go to call the person, which it was not a good thing. It was to stop her. She was in danger, and so she wasn't able to make the connection. And I happened to be there when it was happening, and I saw what was happening, and I was like, "That's a true message from God." But I think what's really important with Alyssa's story is that she wasn't raised in a family that was, very religious. We weren't practicing in any religion, although she was going to classes for her sacraments, her Catholic sacraments. And so when all of this started for her, it started to give her a clearer understanding of a higher person, a higher entity that was there to protect her. And it gave us the same thing because, again, we were not practicing. And so it started to bring the whole world of what's really there for us together spiritually. Connections that we had not made.
So, Donna, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your experience and your story?
Yeah, so mine is, I was working, and we were going through some challenges with Alyssa. Alyssa's also bipolar, in addition to being on the spectrum and some of the other things that she has going on. And so, one night we were getting new furniture, and I happened, she was looking for something that she wanted and was pretty demanding. And I happened to fall backwards into a point on a piece of furniture and then forgot about it. And we had to go through some medical help with Alyssa. So for 30 days, I left that whole issue on it. I started with a headache that night, but I left it totally unattended because there was just too much going on in life. And I just believed it was a headache and it would go away. And it didn't. And then even as the doctors were advising me, it was weird because I was commuting 90 minutes each way to work and back every day. And so I just, by the time I would get home, I would be exhausted and I wouldn't go, couldn't go to a doctor. So finally one night I went to a unit and they advised me to get a CAT scan. I was like, nope, don't have time for that. Got to go back to work. And so, it just follows that when we don't pay attention to ourselves story, the one that says, hey, we're giving you signs that something's wrong and you're just going the other direction. And that's what I was doing. I was just ignoring the whole thing, making up excuses of why I was having this headache for so long. And finally, after 30 days, I sought the care that I needed. And then the outcome was just mind-boggling for me. So
wow. So the readers can find out more about the outcomes if they read the book.
Yep, exactly.
And interesting, I'll just share a little bit about my chapter since we're talking chapters. So my chapter is called How Intuition Saved My Eye. And what happened for me, and it's interesting, we all had health challenges. I had 2 car accidents. And from the last car accident, which was the day after 9/11, my head hit the steering wheel and I broke my eye orbit. And so it was the journey of what happened for me and how I used my intuition and all the different things that unfolded from that journey and what I learned and how intuition has become such a guiding force in my life that I use it every day for all decisions. I'm always asking spirit, God, universe, angels, all of the beings for help, support, and most of all also is asking the higher aspects of myself. Because when you're more connected with yourself, that's when you feel that energy and life just gets better and better and better. So that's a little snippet of my story. What I invite the listeners and the viewers is if you have any questions about anything that any of us have talked about, I invite you to ask questions. You know how I love you to ask your questions. So please feel free. If there's anything that you would like to know more about that one of us have said or anything that we've said at all. So how do you feel from the experiences that you have? And this question is going to be for both of you. How do you feel it's changed your life? You want to start, Alyssa?
Yeah. So since 2021, since 2021, I've been on the path on the right path because of all the things that I went through in 22 and 23, and now this year are all because of my knowings that I get.
Say that again one more time, Alyssa.
I'm more intuitive. I know I get a sense of knowing when I'm actually meeting somebody now, and I know their intentions right away. And so if it's the intentions are right, I automatically go away.
So really what I'm hearing is that it's really helped you become much more intuitive. And you know how I love intuition. So yay, Alyssa.
I think for her, Nanci, it's really important because some of her abilities limit or make her maybe more susceptible to, the stories of other people. And so when she is guided and she listens to her intuition, she has strength. And she's really amazing with it because she is very intuitive. And so it's helped her bring more confidence to herself, but also more discretion in the stories she chooses to listen to.
I love it. I love it. Love it. That's so great. And we do have a question. Somebody from Country Corners Gazette has asked, how would someone get into being an author in a book?
So I think probably the best way is to connect with other authors that I know, like people who have done books go out and recruit authors after the fact. In our case, we didn't do an active recruitment because we set the intention that the right people would come to us. So we weren't out soliciting people. We were really just trying to go word of mouth with people of, letting people know the book was coming, it was out there. I think if you touch base, there's some also book publishing companies that do these books on a regular basis. For example, Hybrid Global did ours, and I believe she has another book, compilation book, anthology in the works right now. Touching base with those publishers may be able to steer you towards the right contacts if you want to be an author in the book.
Thank you, Donna. And how about you sharing about how you feel the experiences that you have had has changed your life?
Yeah, so I listen. So all those times where they were telling me, this isn't a normal headache, you got to go do something. I was just doing my own thing. Oh no, this is more important. That's more important. And so I learned that I need to listen to the signs and see the signs that are being put in front of me to know that, I have to pay attention. And spiritually, I have grown tremendously since this happened. But, all my life, I had been very protected and had a lot of engagements where, things were supposed, I was heading down a path for something to happen. And all of a sudden, that direction would just shift. And I knew someone was watching over me. What happened here was it brought it, out for me to say, look, you're the one who's not paying attention right now. You're the one who's ignoring things. Get engaged and follow. And it's kind of like I always say, follow the breadcrumbs. And so follow the breadcrumbs to the spiritual being that you are. And so I really started paying attention. And as I did that, I became stronger and stronger in my abilities, both intuitively and in my abilities to channel and to create other messages for other people.
And you still see angels today.
I still see angels today.
I love it. You're talking my language, both of you. And that's what I teach in my intuition classes and stuff like that. So I love hearing it. And we have some more questions and coming in. So Misty asks, will we read these stories in the book? All three of our stories are in the book. You'll find out more about all the stories that we're talking about. So yes, these stories are in the book. And then Country Corners Gazette says, do the authors make money from the sales of the book?
It depends on, the book and what the intentions are for the book. And so, and how everything is set up. So it's really different by book. But the one thing I wanted to go back to the last question too about the stories in the book. They are all in the book. And there was something I wanted to add and I lost my thought in the middle of it. Oh, sorry, people. But yeah, I think
it'll come back. I know it's going to come back when you. Yeah. Allie says, such an important lesson. We as women especially tend to put ourselves last. So yes, learning to listen, everybody. Really, that's important part of self-care. Totally.
Yeah.
So
it's listen and do, right? And so, we all have an internal compass, right? That internal knowing. And it's like, I call it the internal compass, but I call it
trusting my gut.
Yeah. And it's just that intention, the intuition inside of you that tells you what to do. And we can all do it. It's not like it's limited to some people. We can all do it. All we have to do is sit back and let it happen.
Well, there are certain things that's all part of my intuition advantage process that I teach that can help, because you're so right. Every single person has the intuitive skill, but if you're not asking or listening or paying attention, then you can miss the signs, or like what happened with you, Donna. You're like,
Mhm.
"Yep, I'm disregarding. Nope." And until you got the lesson loud and clear.
Bless you.
Bless you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
See, that's the truth. Do you know that when you sneeze on the truth?
Yep.
Yeah. So, in terms of also, what I want to let people know is that we have an authors page too. And on the authors page, all the authors have all their information, and they also each have a link to their gift as well. And I will let you know that I have my intuitive decision making meditation, my meditation, and I've also added an ebook with it so that you can now get the ebook as well as the meditation. So, and
Yeah, I
with that,
remember what I was. Oh, sorry,
good.
Nan.
Yay. All right.
I
Donna,
remember, and it is that you can also find us at our website, courageousimpact.com, where we are making a community for our readers. So if you have questions and you want to reach an author, you can do that through courageousimpact.com, which is the book's website. And through that website, you can connect to all of the authors.
I love it. Love it. Love it. And that's where the author's page lives.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. See, perfect. See, I knew you would remember. Spirit wants you to remember.
Yep. Uh-huh.
So, what else would you like to share that you feel would be really helpful for the viewers and the listeners to know, that from either your experiences, your journey, even the journey of creating this book? So, Alyssa, would you like to start?
Sure. So since 22, I've been actually listening to my gut, following my heart and soul, and now I do everything. I know I'm on the right path, and but now I have some redirections, so I know I have to take those redirections to get me to where I actually need to belong.
Yep, love it. And it's
Yeah.
really tuning into that intuition, knowing that it's going to redirect you when you need that redirection.
Yeah, I'm a Capricorn, and Capricorns are known to try and control and force everything. So I've learned to go with the flow and just sit back, and if it's meant to be, it will be.
I love it, Alyssa. That's so cute about Capricorns. Okay. And yes, I do know some Capricorns, and there are a certain stereotype with certain signs. Yep. So, but that's really great that you've learned to go with the flow and really be in the energy of flow. So thank you. Thank you for that,
You're welcome.
that wisdom, and to really support people in that. And Donna, what would you like to share about?
Well, I think everyone has courage inside of them. We don't always access it, right? We often listen to others or succumb to what others tell us. And it's really important that you make the decisions for you, that you follow what you feels right to you. And so, things happen for us, not to us. And that's a very powerful message when we truly embrace it and believe it. And that there are things, when you're a spiritual person, you have a lot of faith in yourself and in your life and what will happen, right? And your ability to contact others, to be in touch with the spirits that will help you. And the power, that there's a higher power, and that higher power guides us all, whatever we call it. And so get in touch with that. And so if you even have a little bit of curiosity about that, I encourage people to follow it, right? To per, pursue it and see what comes for you. And it's not like a one and done situation. It's a journey. And the journey changes every day, and the journey is exciting. The journey is rewarding, and at times it's very challenging. And when it's challenging, just have the faith that you're working through something that you need to know or learn, and at the end of that, you will be better and you will be stronger and you will go on to the next thing. But it all starts with one little step, and then that step finds its next step, and so on and so on. Have a vision for yourself and go after it.
I love it, Donna. Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. And it sounds a lot like what I teach. Like if people who are regulars, they know I'm always talking about the journey, and it's one step at a time, whether it's a baby step or a big step, it's one step at a time. So you were very aligned.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
And it's best to write your vision. It's best to write the vision down so God knows what you want in life.
I love it. I actually, in January, I actually did a few shows on manifesting and talked a lot about the manifesting and what you need to do to manifest. So right in alignment, Alyssa, of what you're saying, and Donna, what you're saying. So definitely very cool. All right, we got some questions. Misty asks, does a portion of the sales from this book go to any particular charity or anything?
So what we are doing is working on that portion of it right now. It's important. It was very important for us to create the book, set the intention for the book, and help it fly without, really guiding a specific path for it. And so now that the book is taking off, this is where we come back and we say, okay, here's where it's going to go in the future. And so that's a piece that Sue and I are working on right now.
Great. Thank you. And Country Corners Gazette says, how was it working with many authors?
It was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. And like I said, we had the best group of authors come along, and their energies just matched and inspired each other. I mean, it was a case where there was no competition, no judgment. It was all about, how do we bring our energies together and create? And it was all from creation. And so this experience for me has been one of the best experiences of my life. And I'm a past corporate executive, and I, have had so many experiences working with others, bringing teams together, and being very successful at it. This one just tops everything.
So, and working, and I also really want to acknowledge you, Donna, you and Sue, for they had meetings. We had meetings. There was organization. You really helped to bring all of us together in community. And I really want to acknowledge you and Sue for that. So thank you.
Thank you. And just, we had the best well-intentioned authors, right? And if I could, well, I did. Okay, so I did write this experience down. It is something that I manifested. And so, it is a pure example of what you can create when you're in the right spot and you're putting all of your intentions down.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So if you could share with the viewers any words, any wisdom that you would like them, viewers or listeners, because we also do the podcast. So what wisdom would you like the viewers to know, to take from this show and from the book, your experience, however you would like to do it? Let's start with Alyssa.
So I was going to write about a different story, but then the ghostwriter, Susan, said, decided to do a different story.
So, so Alyssa had set out to write a story that was about twin flames. And when she met with somebody who helped her write her story, they actually said, wait, you have a much different story to tell. And that's how they actually broke down to Alyssa's story and got into this place of her finding her faith and her alignment. And it all came out of this experience. So that's for her has taught her to be open to new things and to really embrace what comes in front of you.
And I'm still on that twin flame journey today. And then everything that I went through in 22, 23, and this year, it's all because I'm on that twin flame journey. It's like I found myself. I'm at peace, and I had to forgive all my the past and what wasn't good to get to a higher level.
Can you define twin flames? Because some people may not know what twin flames are. So just to define it.
So twin flame is like when you're meeting yourself for the first time. It's your married soul.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we have another question. Well, first, before we get to the question, Donna, I just want you to answer the question that I posed, and then we'll get to this last question before we end. Go ahead.
So for me, it's about, total letting go and being in the flow and having faith that everything acts in your favor.
And that's really what we want you viewers and listeners to know, is about being in the flow and trusting your intuition and letting it unfold. We have another question that came in from Country Corners. How long did it take to get this to come together? The whole process.
It took a little over about probably a year and a half from the time we had the idea to formulating it and working with finding a publisher, working with the publisher, to attracting our authors, to then writing the stories and putting the book together. And actually the last phase of the book is the quickest part of the process. And that's as the authors write their stories and we go through the editing. That was probably one of the fastest. It was probably more faster than I was expecting. But what happens is all of a sudden at the end, you just hit that spot of where you're out there. And it feels very quick at that point.
Great. And any last words or comments that you'd like viewers or listeners to know?
I think first, Nanci, your story is very inspiring, and it is how you live, right? And so I believe that, that your story needs to be seen. So everyone, please see Nanci's story there, because it is as she lives and it's what she teaches. And I think it was very powerful. I think the other thing is that there's a lot of diversity in the book. And with that, I mean diversity of thought and diversity of authors, of where they're coming from in their stories. They're not all spiritually based. However, everyone has a connection, and their connection is with something that's a higher power than they are. And so whatever that is, it works very well for them. And, as people, we all get to pick and choose what that is for us. And so, realize that there's no force to align you with anything of any of the authors, just to learn and hear from them.
So, Misty asks, thank you, Donna. Misty asks, do you have weekly meetings for the authors to submit their work as they went along?
We did not have weekly meetings. We met probably more on a monthly basis, but here's the thing. Our authors were so into what they were writing that we didn't need to stay on top of them. I mean, they managed themselves, got their stories in on time. And it was really, they owned it. They owned it. They wanted to get their stories out there, and they all worked with our editor as we were going through the editing phase. And so the editors did stay in contact with the authors as they worked on their different documents, but it felt like it was a very easy process. I think that's a really important point now that I say that out loud, is that we let this book flow. And so we didn't want to interrupt anything that was going on with it. So we kind of stood in the background as the authors and the publisher worked the process, and it did just flow. It was very easy for us, which is what happens when you let something flow.
That's right. Flow with the universe. That's what it's all about. So I just really want to thank you both for joining me today. Rebel, can you put the link in the chat again to buy the book? It's only 99 cents for today and tomorrow, and then the price will be going up. And I just really want to say I'm so grateful to be a part of it, and so grateful that you came to share this on launch day.
Alyssa told me to go by how you feel, how it makes you feel.
I love it. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Nanci. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And remember that we are live Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And you can find past shows on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, and Amazon. And I really want to thank you for being here, and I look forward. I hope that you have an inspired and empowered day and an inspired and empowered week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.